The Interior Ministry said there were 2 people killed there after the gunman entered the premises shouting, "Allah ul Akbar, I will kill you all." That's the scene as we see it, the most recent pictures coming from Trèves. Let's bring in Chris Bachman, who's our correspondent in the southwest of France, who is at the scene. Chris, hello to you. Tell us what you can see. Tell us what's been happening.
I've just left the scene, actually, but in those fatal moments for that gunman, in any case, that we were just about to go to the supermarket. The police were about to let us get nearer to the scene, and suddenly they said, "No, you can't go," and 2 helicopters suddenly appeared. And they hovered right above the supermarket about 700 meters from us, and they just hovered there for a few minutes. And then suddenly the call came in that the gunman had been killed. And after that, we saw ambulances leaving. Having said that, we've seen ambulances leaving throughout the day, throughout the morning, I should say. I've seen about 10 leaving from that scene. And as well as there's still a huge police presence here. So even though they think that maybe this was a lone gunman, they're making sure that he was just a lone gunman, and the police will basically be patrolling Carcassonne for a long time to come, I think, over the next coming hours.
Chris, I know you know the area well. Tell us about the area. Tell us what it's like.
Yeah, I mean, many people would have probably actually done their shopping at the supermarket. I'll tell you why. Because it's right next to the Canal du Midi, the famous one, which a lot of barges go down. People cycle on between Narbonne and Toulouse. It's right next to the Cité de Carcassonne, which is a beautiful fortified town next to Carcassonne. It's just by there, and this supermarket is on the main national road next to the motorway. So people who don't want to take the motorway because it's a fee paying, they'll go there. And the supermarket is right next to this national road, this carriageway, and so many tourists stop there and during the summer, and they go and they do their shopping there if they're going to Carcassonne to see the fortified town, or if they're going down towards Narbonne to the Mediterranean coast. One thing which we don't know yet, obviously it's speculation, but a police car is going past me with several motorcycles right now. One thing which does come to mind is that this is actually the week of the 6th anniversary of the Mohamed Merah shootings in Toulouse, just about 45 minutes north of here. Is there a link? Who knows? But on the other hand, after the Merah shootings, which left, of course, 7 people dead, including 3 soldiers, one thing that has to be pointed out is that there have been copycat attacks in this region, people claiming to be from Islamic State, and they haven't. They've just been psychologically unstable and claiming. So even though this man has a past of apparently being radicalized, I still think there should be a little bit of caution until we know for certain.
And from where you are, can you tell or can you see, do you have any ideas as to sort of how this man was armed, what he had with him? Clearly he went into the premises carrying a gun.
Well, indeed, it seems like he he shot and severely injured at least one CRS officer who was jogging in the center of Carcassonne before, and then, of course, he killed several people in the supermarket and injured several others, so he was clearly heavily armed. We don't know what yet with, but the police definitely were having machine guns on the roundabouts leading up to the supermarket themselves. They were very heavily armed, and, of course, there was 2 helicopters flying above that supermarket just in case he tried to give the police the slip and leave in his car. They've now left, but the police, of course, are still very much ringing the city, which isn't that big. It's got about 80,000 people live here. It's sandwiched between Toulouse and Narbonne. And one thing which also should be bore in mind is that a lot of people who've gone to Iraq and Syria to fight have actually come from the southwest in the Toulouse region and all the way down to Montpellier in a place called Lunel. So this has actually been a fertile ground for Islamic radicals. Why? Nobody seems to know. I've asked police and I've asked experts many times, and people are a bit flummoxed about that themselves. But this is definitely a ripe area of the country for Islamic fundamentalists.
Chris Bachman, thank you very much for that. Chris Bachman, our